This session is on basics of VPC, and the advanced level will be like we'll explain in the next session, next webinar. So in this session, we only will focus on the basics of the VPC. What is VPC like? So before to set up on-site data centers, how painful it is. Like you have to spend so much on that, and you have to like hire engineers for that, and it is like a long process to go like to do this, to set up on-site data centers. But now with the cloud, it's like very easy to set up and maintain the servers and infrastructure. In just clicks you can create any server and deploy it on the cloud. So it has become very easy, but and it is very cheap as compared to the on-site uh, what you spend on the on-site listening infrastructure. So as compared to that, it's very cheap, and not very long time consuming process. Okay, so what is VPC? VPC is a virtual private cloud, wherein you can have a private cloud. You can have private cloud and launch a private network apart from your which are like isolated from the other networks. It's not like anyone can't the servers which you launch on the VPC are not like available to not available from the another VPC. So it is like isolated from each other. So this is what it is. So you can launch why we require why we use VPC. So suppose when there's a open cloud, so if there's a open cloud, anyone can access it, like it is a visible to the world and anyone can access. So but when we create VPC, a virtual private cloud, it is like restricted. It restricts the traffic to the network. It restricts the what IP addresses we can use, and who can access the resources in that VPC. It's all we can manage, and it is restricted to the person who are like authorized to do these things. Okay, and what we can do with this, we can launch new instances, we can have a customized IP address range, we can create subnets of our own choice, we can configure the route tables, we can have we can have basically logically isolated network using VPC. Okay, so it's like a traditional network only, but it is on cloud. Okay, and is VPC free? Yeah, obviously VPC is free, but like the services which you're gonna use on the VPC is like it will be chargeable. You have to pay for the services that you're gonna use on the VPC. Means like if you want to launch an EC2 instance or server, you have to pay for it. That is a service which you are using on the VPC. Okay, yeah, next. So when you create a AWS account, AWS nowadays AWS account comes with default VPC. You don't have to create a VPC. It comes by default. You can launch directly instances, and you can use any services, and you have the access to the internet. You can have you can do anything. But what if you want to have a customized VPC? Like you can where you can as per your needs, as per your requirements, you can create and give access to anyone, and deny access to anyone. So VPCs are to like that to use in those cases. Okay. Like in every VPC, we can in every region we can create 5 VPC by default. Okay, but this we can, like, this is adjustable. We can request and we can increase the quota on this 5. We can have as like hundreds of VPCs as per our needs. Okay, and also CIDers also we can have uh, 200 something CIDers per VPC. Okay, what range is allowed in AWS VPC? So you see this, if you minimum size which we can like minimum IP addresses which we can have on AWS VPC is like 16. If this I'll explain later. Okay, this /28 thing. Okay, this is a CIDR, and the maximum IP addresses which we can have is 65,536 IP addresses which will be available to us. And in this also there will be 5 IP addresses will be minus. Those are like reserved for AWS services. And VPCs are private only. So like to use the VPC service, we have to have a private IP address, not the public IP address. We cannot use the public IP address to create this VPC. VPC is created on based on the private IP addresses. Yeah. Okay. Subnets. Subnet. What is subnet? Subnet is a range of IP addresses in VPC. Okay, and the subnet mask of IP address determines the how many bits can change in an IP address. Okay, and mm, uh, subnets um, it's only one subnet always associated only with one availability zones, and it cannot be like span to multiple zone availability zones. Okay, and the two VPCs cannot have the overlapping IP address range. Okay, this is about the subnets. And internet gateway, this is the another component of VPC. Internet gateway is used to connect the instances to the internet. Like you feel like when you launch you created VPC and you have launched the instance, the server in VPC, and you want to have the internet access, you have to have the internet gateway attached to that VPC. Then only you can access the internet. Okay, and about the router, route table, like it interconnects the two different VPCs or the internet gateways and virtual private gateways, the NAND gateways. It is used to connect the subnets and all, like interconnection between those things. It's like a routing table. Okay, yeah. So about peering connections, peering connection is used to connect the two different VPCs. Okay, like you can connect the two different VPCs, and between the region also you can connect VPCs, and also between different AWS accounts. Okay, and VPC does not support transitive peering. Means suppose I'll give you an example. Uh, Suppose there are three VPCs: VPC A, B, and C, APC B and C. Okay, and VPC A and B is having the connection. Okay, there is a link between them. And VPC A and VPC A and C does not have any like this thing. So VPC A cannot communicate directly to VPC C. It cannot go through this thing. Okay, between C and from B to C. You should have a direct connection between them, like VPC A to B, VPC A to C. It's like that. Direct connection has to be there. Okay. Then we'll come to next point, VPC endpoint. VPC endpoint is like it is to use, it is used to create a private connection, okay, between VPCs to use the public services, AWS services. Okay. Then NAT gateways. NAT gateways is also used to connect the instances which are present in private subnets. Okay, to have the like connect to have to connect to the services which are resides outside of the VPCs, like outside. Okay, and they can communicate, but they cannot communicate, like the services which are resides outside cannot communicate to the instances like which are resides in the VPCs. Okay, and then come to security group. Security group is like a instance level firewall wherein it manages the incoming and outgoing traffic. Okay, based on the inbound and outbound rules which we mentioned there in the security group. And network ACL is also like a subnet level firewall. It's a subnet level, not the instance level. So it is attached to the subnet, okay, where we mention the rules about the inbound and outbound traffic. This is about the main components. So we'll go to the next. So now let's understand the CIDR. So in one IP address, like there are like 4 octets, okay, and each octet has 8 bits. So combining all 8 bits, we have a 32 bits this slash CIDR. So using this 32 bits, we can create and we can divide the networks. Okay, we can have a many network using the this bits. So suppose if we use suppose we have a IP address of 10.0.0.0 and slash 16. 16 means we are using the 16 bits of the IP address like to create our IP range. Okay, by using slash 16, we'll be having around 65,000 IPs which can be used and which can be assigned to the instances which we gonna create on the this VPCs. Okay. Okay. So let's see how we calculate this. Okay, we can. This is the formula to calculate the CIDR subnets. Okay. So if we use 2 raised to 0, then we'll be having 0 IP address. If we use 2 raised to 16, then we'll be having 65,000 IP addresses. This is a simple formula to calculate the IP this thing subnets. Okay, and in these 5 IP addresses will be minus for the which AWS reserve for starting 4 IP addresses and the last one IP address, which is a last is a broadcast IP address. Yeah, we can go ahead. Okay, we have a private and public IPs. So to like if you want to, if you have a big organization, you want to have a big network, you can use a class A sub IP address which is 10.0.0, and you can create a big network. Okay, and we have a, but this AWS comes with this second one, class B, a 172.16 okay, and for small networks we can use 192.168.0.0 IP address. These are the private IP addresses which we use to create private VPCs. Okay, and the rest IPs are which are available on the internet are dynamic and public IP addresses. Yeah, so what I have explained earlier about the internet gateways, the same thing. Internet gateway is used to connect instances to internet. Okay, it must be created separately from VPC, and only one internet gateway can be attached to one VPC, and it's a vice versa same thing. And yeah, Now my colleague will take over and will explain the practical implementation of VPC. Yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. So thank you for joining this webinar. Okay, so in this practical implementation, I will show you how to set up this VPC using all the components which just now Nadim have explained. Okay, so I will show you full practical implementation of that. So in this, we will create one VPC, okay, as a demo VPC. Then inside that demo VPC, we will create two private subnets as well as two public subnets. Then we will launch one EC2 instance, and we will check whether we can able to SSH into that instance or not. Then I will show you the role of internet gateway in these VPCs and the route tables also. Okay, and after configuring everything, so we should be able to SSH into the instance. Okay, so let's begin with practical implementation. Just a second. Okay, can you see my screen? Uh,
Yes.
Okay, fine. First, we have to log in into AWS console. So this is the AWS console. Okay. So from there, we can go into the VPC. We have to just search here VPC, and then we have to go in VPC. Okay. So here we will create one demo VPC. So already there will be one VPC present over here. See, we can see that one VPC is present. So that is the default VPC which is configured by AWS. Okay. So here what we can do is we will create one VPC. Okay. So here we have to select VPC only. In the name tag we have to give VPC name. So I will give it as demo VPC. Okay, so here we will continue with the IP version for this thing IP range. Okay, so here I will take 10.0.0.0.0/16. Okay, so this means this will give us around 65,536 IPs. So just now Nadim had explained how we can calculate this IP address. Okay, so how many IP addresses can be there in a particular subnet? Like, so 16/16 is the CIDR which we are using for this. Okay, so as we are using IPv4, so we are not going with the IPv6. Okay, so tendency we will keep it as default, and we will create the VPC. Okay, so we have to click on create VPC. So now we can see like there are two VPCs. Okay, so one is demo VPC and one is the default VPC. Okay, so now we have to check. So if I click on the default VPC, we can see there that there will be many subnets, like, okay, so which are connected to default VPCs. So if I select here a demo VPC which we have created just now, so there won't be any subnets. Okay, so now we have to create four subnets. Two will be public subnets and two will be private subnets. Okay, so for to create it, we have to just click on create subnet. Then we have to select VPC ID as demo VPC, because we are creating these subnets under the demo VPC. Okay, not the default one. Then we have to give the subnet name. We can give it as public subnet A we can give. Then we have to select the availability zone. Okay, so here we have to this thing no keep in mind that only one availability zone can be attached to one subnet. Okay, so, this is for the availability of the subnet. Okay, so here now we have to select the CIDRs. Okay, so CIDRs will be within our that network which we have selected while creating VPC. Okay, so here I will take 10.0.0.0.0/24. Okay, so /24 means it will give us 256 IP addresses. Okay, so similar way I will create remaining three subnets. Okay, so I will show it to you. So next one will be public subnet B. Availability zone, we have to select it as 1B because here we have selected 1A. Okay. Then CIDR will be next side CIDR. Okay. So next will be 10.0.1.0. Okay. /24. And so we have to add two more. So next will be private subnet A. Availability zone, here we can select as 1A because now this is a private. Okay, so CIDR will be next CIDR. So next will be 10.0.2.0/24. Again we will get 256 IP addresses. Okay, so one more we have to create, that is private subnet B. Okay, so now we have to select US East 1B. Okay, and next CIDR will be 10.0.3.0. Okay, /24. And we have to create click on create subnet. Okay, so it will create all the subnets over here. So now we can see that all subnets are created. So public subnet A, private private subnet A, public subnet B, private subnet B, and public subnet A. So four are created. So two for public and two for private. Okay, so now what we can do is we will try to launch one instance, EC2 instance, and we will see whether we can SSH into that instance. And while creating the instance, we will select a demo VPC which we have created, and we will not select the demo VPC. Okay. So to create a EC2, so we have to go in EC2, we have to click on instances, and then we have to click on launch instance. Okay. So here I will give name as demo VPC again. Then we have to select, we can select any OS. So I will keep it default one only, that will be Amazon Linux. Then next is the default this thing T2 micro. Here we need to select a key pair. So this key pair I have already created, so I'm just selecting it. So here though in network settings, so now here we have to make the changes. Okay, so we have to click on edit. So now see, by default they have selected a default VPC, okay, which is created by the AWS, but we have to select the one which we have created. Okay, so for that we will create on demo VPC here. And next thing is like okay, so by default, this auto assign IP will be disabled, okay, for the VPC. So what we have to do is we have to enable it, okay. So I will just show you how we can enable it. So we have to go into the private subnet, okay, here, and we have to go in actions and edit route table association, okay. So just a second. Uh, Okay, so in edit subnet setting, we have to click on enable auto assign public IP addresses. Okay, if this setting is enabled, then by default it will assign IP address over here. Okay, so we don't have to select. So I will just show it to you. Okay, how it works. Okay, so again we have to select everything. So this will be a demo VPC. Then default Amazon Linux. Then we have to select default instance type. Key pair will be a demo key pair. Then in here we have to click on edit. We have to select demo VPC, and here we have to enable it. Okay, so this is the thing. So next is we will keep SSH access. Okay, later we will check. Okay, by doing SSH into it, and we have selected here. We have to select public subnet A. Okay, so demo VPC, then subnet will be public subnet A. Okay, and we have also assigned the public IP address. So now we have to just launch the instance. So it will take some time, just 30 seconds, something like that. We will wait for some time. So after creating this instance, now we will try to SSH into it, and we will see whether we can SSH into the instance. Okay. Here we can see that public IP address is assigned to us. If that assigned public IP address was disabled, then only private IP address will be assigned to us. Okay. So now the instance is running. So now we will try to connect to SSH into the instance. Okay. So I will go to here. I will go here, and I will try to connect it. Okay. Now let's see whether it is connecting or not. So it is not connecting. So the reason behind it is like we have created the VPC, okay, and we have created the subnets, but there is no internet connection for that VPC. Okay, so that is the reason we are not able to SSH into the instance. Okay, so our next step will be to create an internet gateway. Okay, so Nadim already explained you what is internet gateway. Okay, so it is just to allow internet connection to VPC. Okay, so for that we have to click on internet gateway, and then we have to create internet gateway. Okay, so I will give name tag as demo IGW. So IGW is internet gateway. Okay, and we have to create internet gateway. Okay, so now we can see we have created a demo IGW internet gateway, but it is in beta stage. So we have to attach it to the VPC which we have created just now. Okay, so we have to go in actions, and we have to click on attach to VPC. Okay, so from here we have to select demo VPC. Okay, so now that means we have given internet access to the VPC. So now again, we will see whether we can SSH into the instance. Okay. So same steps, we'll click on connect and connect. So now again, also it won't connect. Okay. So see now still it is not, we are not able to SSH into the instance. Okay, so this is because now we have given attached this thing internet gateway, but we have not uh, this thing. So that subnet don't know where to pass that route. Okay, so what we have to do is next step is we have to create a route table for it. Okay, so that it can pass it to proper this thing routes. Okay, so by default now there is one route, and that is a default VPC route. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to create two routes table. One is for public and one is for private network. Okay, so here I will give names. Okay, so it will be private route table. Okay, and VPC we have to select as demo and create route. Again, we have to create one more as public. And again, we have to select demo VPC, okay, and create route table. So now we can see that we have created two route tables. One is private route table and one is public route table. So now we have created, launched that instance in the public route table. Okay. So now we have to create route and subnet association for this. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to click on public route table. We have to go in subnet association, and we have to attach our this thing. Uh, Subnets. Okay, so just a second. So I'm selecting public one. Then I'm going into subnet association, edit subnet association, and we have to select both the public subnets. Okay, so public subnet B and A. Okay, and we have to click on save association. So same thing we have to do for private route table. So click on private route table, subnet association, edit subnets, and click both the private subnets, private subnet A and private subnet B. Okay, and click on save association. Okay. So now we have associated these subnets, okay, to the private route table. Now we have to add the routes. Okay, so to add the routes, so now we have to tell our routes that if any request comes uh, outside the IP range, then you have to pass it to the internet gateway, which we have created. Okay, so we have to create that route table here. Okay, so now to create it, we have to click on routes, and we have to click on edit routes. Okay, so now by default, this is the local this thing IP range, private IP range, which is our default this thing VPC siders. Okay, so now we have to add the route table. So here we will select allow everyone other than this private IP range. Okay, and uh, move that traffic to the internet gateway. Okay, so this is our internet gateway which we have created, demo IJW. Okay, and then we have to click on save changes. So that means now we have created VPCs, we have created subnets, we have linked internet gateway to the VPC, and now also we have created the routes. Okay, so now again we will check, try to connect it to instance. Okay, so let's see now whether it is connecting or not. So here we have to go in EC2 connect and connect. See, now we are able to SSH into the EC2 instance. Okay, so so basically what we did is we have given public internet access. Okay, within our VPC. Okay, so by default there won't be any internet connections to the VPC. So for that we have to create this. We have to use these components. Okay. So now if I try here to ping Google, then it should work. See, we are getting the request. That means this instance has internet connectivity. Okay, so this is how we can set up a VPC to launch our instances and use AWS services. Whatever we have just explained, so everything is there in this block. Okay, so this theoretical part as well as practical implementation. So whatever just now I have shown you, everything is there step by step. So you people can refer these things. Okay, so that's it. So this is about the VPC. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everyone.
joining.